What's going on, guys? My name is Kyle and welcome to another Dead by Daylight video. Today we are going to be talking about which survivors you should level up first. When you're new to this game, the amount of things you have to learn is a bit overwhelming, so my goal is to make it as easy as possible for you guys. I'm going to be breaking this video into two different sections: characters that you start off the game with and DLC characters. I'm doing this so that you can make an informed decision on which DLC you may want to buy, or you can just stick to the free characters for those of you who are very new to the game. Before we get into the list, be sure to drop a like down below if you enjoyed this video. This shows me that you enjoy the content I'm producing and I will make more of it in the future. I already have multiple videos like this one planned, so make sure you subscribe with those post notifications on so you guys don't miss out on that. Anyway, let's get right into the list. So we're gonna start off with the free characters. I'm gonna do these in order from worst to best, just to give you a general idea of who to upgrade last versus who you may want to start thinking about next. The worst free character to upgrade would have to go to Nia. I know as a beginner player, you may be inclined to want Urban Evasion as a perk, but trust me, it is not worth the perk slot. If you don't know, Urban Evasion doubles your crouch walking speed, making it easier for you to evade the killer and play more stealthily. This sounds like the perfect fit for newer players, but there are much better perks out there for you to use. I fully understand that I have a more aggressive playstyle in this game, and have never once in my entire life tried to hide from the killer all game, so please note that when I talk about these perks. Of course, when you're new to the game, the killer will feel scary and you will want to hide as much as possible, but this won't give you any experience in looping the killer, so you won't improve in the long run. Her other perk is Balanced Landing, which is one of the more difficult perks to use in the game, so I just really wouldn't recommend it for newer players. And her last perk, Streetwise, is just straight up garbo. The next spot is going to Dwight. So Dwight's perks aren't actually that bad, but they all utilize team play and sticking with your teammates. The reason I have him so low is that less experienced players won't be able to fully utilize his perks. Prove Thyself speeds up repair speeds if you're with 2 or more people, and Leader speeds up everything but repair speeds for anyone near you. His third perk, Bond, lets you see the auras of teammates nearby, which is actually pretty decent for beginners. It would let you see if other people are working on gens near you, or it would help you find someone to heal you. Next on the list is going to Claudette. This was actually the first character I leveled up when I started the game, so I do have experience with her perks from the beginner's perspective. The best perk she has, in my opinion, is Empathy. Empathy allows you to see the aura of anyone on the map that is injured. When I was a new player, this was super helpful to know where the killer is on the map, because once he hits someone, you will see their aura appear. This helps you make smarter decisions, because if the killer is on the other side of the map, then obviously you don't need to be hiding in that bush. Then there's Botany Knowledge, which increases healing speeds. This is actually a really solid perk for beginners because you don't really have to think about it, it's just kind of there. And lastly, Self-Care. This is a complete trap for newer players. It's a perk that more experienced players consider almost detrimental to most situations. The main objective in the game is to do gens, so technically the most efficient way to win the game is to work on generators and not heal, since healing takes so long. And Self-Care doubles that time it takes to heal, which you could have been using to work on gens. The plus side is that you can heal by yourself without a teammate, but if you want to do that, just use a medkit. Medkits let you heal yourself just as fast, if not faster, than if you were being healed by a teammate. Next up, I have to go with Jake. Jake has 2 very mediocre perks and then one of the best perks in the entire game. His mediocre perks are Saboteur and Calm Spirit. Saboteur lets you see all of the hooks when the killer picks someone off the ground. For those survivors using toolboxes to sabotage hooks, it would make it way easier. I would not recommend using this perk as a beginner though, because you probably wouldn't be trying to sabotage hooks to begin with. Calm Spirit prevents you from screaming and scaring crows. In the lower ranks, this will do absolutely nothing for you unless you're playing against a doctor, but the odds of that happening are 1 in 22, so it's not worth it at all. Lastly, he has the perk Iron Will, which is absolutely amazing for both newer players and experienced players. Iron Will makes you completely silent when you're injured, so you won't make any grunts of pain. This counters anyone playing killer that has ears, which, you know, I would say is almost everyone. It lets you get away from the killer more easily because they can't hear which direction you're going. Now we're getting into the really good survivors that you should definitely level up first. The next spot is going to David. No Mither, or No Mither, however you want to pronounce it, is extremely useless, so I'm not even going to talk about it. His other 2 perks are incredible. We're Gonna Live Forever doubles your healing speed for people on the ground, so it's really good to pick up downed people. It also increases the amount of blood points you get at the end of the game, which will help you get new perks even faster. His last perk, Dead Hard, is considered a top tier perk. When you're injured and running, you have the option to press the button that it says at the bottom of your screen. I changed mine, but the default keybind is E, so you would have to press E to Dead Hard. Dead Harding gives you a small boost forward and makes you invisible during that boost, so it basically makes you avoid one attack, which could help you get to a pallet or window in time. It then goes on an exhaustion second cooldown, which is shown as the heart on the right side of your screen. This cooldown pauses when you are running, so just take note of that. The next character is going to Bill. Just like David, he has one terrible perk and two really good perks. Left Behind is the terrible perk. It basically shows you where the hatch is if you're the last person alive, which rewards you for getting your entire team killed. Long story short, don't use it. Then we have Borrowed Time. This one's a little bit complicated, but when you unhook someone while you can hear the killer's heartbeat, which is known as the terror radius, this perk will activate. It will practically give the person being unhooked a shield, so if the killer hit them immediately after getting off the hook, they won't go down. Fun fact, you will know if someone just saved you with Borrowed Time because it will appear on the right side of your screen after being unhooked. Until that timer runs out, you can take a hit without going down. His last perk is Unbreakable, which lets you pick yourself up off the ground. Usually when you are down, you can recover to a certain point, but then you need someone else to be there to pick you up. With Unbreakable, you can do it yourself, which can completely change the tide of the game. It also makes your recovery speed much faster, which is another benefit. However, keep in mind that you can only use it once per game, so if someone is near you to pick you up, you probably shouldn't use it and save it for later. And finally, the best free character to level up first has to go to Meg. All three of her perks are really good no matter your skill level. I want to start with Sprint Burst. Sprint Burst gives you a speed boost for 3 seconds after you start sprinting, which will let you get to another loop or escape the killer in a pinch. Similar to Dead Hard, Sprint Burst is an exhaustion perk, so once you use it, it will go on a cooldown. The reason I bring this perk up first is because I want to tell you what not to do. This perk only activates when you start sprinting, so most newer players will walk around the entire map the whole game and use Sprint Burst only when the killer comes to them. Do not do this. If you do this, it's worse than just not having Sprint Burst at all. Walking is so slow, so if you walk around the entire map, you won't be efficient and will probably not escape. So you have to use a little bit of brain power with this perk, but I know all of you out there are smart, so don't be intimidated. The next Meg perk is Adrenaline. This will heal you for 1 health state and will give you a temporary speed boost once the last gen is finished. So if you're injured, it will heal you to full health. If you're on the ground, it will pick you up and you will be injured. If you're in the mending state, it will heal you to the injured state. And if you're on the hook, you will have full health once you get unhooked. Adrenaline can get you out of a lot of sticky situations, assuming you're able to finish the last gen. If you're playing with friends, you can have someone near a generator about to finish it while you go unhook your teammate. Once you get hit, you'd have him pop the gen, which will instantly heal you so you won't go down after unhooking your teammate. I know this may be a little confusing at first, but once you start getting used to this perk, you'll understand what I mean. Her last perk is called Quick and Quiet. This makes any fast action completely silent, so fast vaulting a window, pallet, or locker will make absolutely zero noise. This is really good to confuse the killer because they won't know whether you took the vault or not. It has a 15-second cooldown after using it, which you can see by the perk icon. So that's all the free characters, but I wanted to go over a couple DLC characters in case you wanted to know who to buy first. Remember, this list is for beginners, so the DLC characters I will be using have perks that are easy to use and helpful for you to learn about the game. They're not necessarily the best perks in the game. I'll save that for a different video. These are in no particular order, so remember that as I go through these. I'm gonna start off with Kate. Don't use Boil Over. Boil Over is useless. Trust me, it's utter garbage. Her other 2 perks are really good for newer players. Windows of Opportunity lets you see pallets and windows near you. This will help you learn the different structures on each map, as well as telling you where the closest resource is. Dance With Me is a perk that triggers after you perform a fast action, just like Quick and Quiet. It causes you to have no scratch marks for 3 seconds after that fast action. Scratch marks are those little red lines that only killers can see when a survivor is running, so Dance With Me will help the killer lose you. The most common pair of perks to run with this is Quick and Quiet, Lithe, and Dance With Me. Quick and Quiet so your fast vault is silent, Dance With Me so you don't have any scratch marks, and Lithe, which gives you a speed boost after you fast vault so you can get further away when you don't have any scratch marks. The next DLC character I have on this list is Fang. Fang has the perk Lithe, which I just mentioned. It gives you a speed boost after you fast vault a pallet or a window. This is an exhaustion perk like Dead Hard and Sprint Burst, so it'll have a long cooldown before you can use it again. She also has the perk Technician, which makes it so that if you miss a skill check, it will not notify the killer. This is really good if you miss a lot of skill checks, but keep in mind that it adds an additional regression penalty for missing that skill check. Her last perk is Alert, which reveals the aura of the killer when he kicks a pallet, breakable wall, or generator. This will show you where the killer is, kind of like Empathy, so you know not to be hiding in that freaking bush. The last DLC character I would recommend is Lori. There's only one perk that would be good for beginners, and that's Decisive Strike. This perk activates for 60 seconds once you get unhooked. It basically acts as an anti-tunnel perk, so if the killer tries to pick you up again right after you are unhooked, you will get a skill check. If you hit the skill check, you will stun the killer and will get off his shoulders, basically giving you a second chance. Some killers do what is called respecting DS, which means they'll hit you, but then they won't pick you up until your DS timer has run out, rendering the perk useless. So a lot of good survivors will force the DS by jumping into a locker if the killer is following them and they have their DS active. This will prevent the killer from respecting DS because it forces them to either pull you out of the locker, wait there doing nothing for a minute until your DS runs out, or leave you to find someone else. No matter the situation, it wastes a ton of time, which is your main goal in this game. Ideally, you want to waste as much time as possible while your teammates progress the game. That's gonna wrap it up for today's Dead by Daylight video, but wait, don't click off just yet. I'm gonna be making more videos like this in the future, so make sure you stick around for that. Some of the ones I have planned are like best survivor perks for beginners, best killers to level up first, and best killer perks for beginners. If you have any other ideas for videos like this, feel free to let me know down in the comment section, in my Discord server, or on my Twitch channel. I believe that is all for today's video. Again, if you did enjoy it and found it helpful, please leave a like so I know I'm doing something right. Anyway guys, I will see you all in the next video. Peace!